allow people to make any public comments on the proposed budget. So if anyone is here to make comments on the budget that's been posted, you can make your way up to the podium, please. So this is the time for the public to tell us what they think about our budget. So come on up.
I didn't want to be first.
Looks like you may be first and only, maybe.
My name is Arlene Orgeron. I am a retired Lafayette Parish School System employee, as is my husband. I'm here to respectfully request 2 board actions. Number 1, fund the board share of the health benefit for all employees by refunding the $470,000 you voted not to contribute to the insurance fund. Number 2, take Dr. Aguilar's recommendation to only put $125,000 into the OPEB savings account. I do not want our insurance premiums to increase more than our consultant recommended in his analysis of our plan back in March. We'd like Lafayette Parish to continue to attract good teachers for our school system. I'm afraid that with actions such as these, we're going to lose them to surrounding parishes that offer better benefits. Thank you for your consideration. Goodbye.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? All right, this meeting is scheduled until 4:30. So, Ms. Saunier, you on your way?
I am.
Okay.
I'm Pat Saunier, and I represent these teachers who are afraid to get up and speak. But they are here in support of the request that this lady just made, that the $470,000 be put back into the insurance fund, and also that we only take the recommendation that Dr. Aguilar made, $125,000, to put in the OPEC fund. And I want to tell you, this affects all the employees in the system, and insurance is very dear to our hearts. A lot of this happened at the end of school. We have teachers in the system, employees, that first of all do not even know the insurance premiums are going up. They do not know the recommendations that the consultant made to make our insurance stable. So they're out there not knowing things, because at the end of the school, if you're in a school and you know the millions of things that have to be done, you know, you just don't have time to pay attention to other than getting all the records straight and this type of thing. The other thing is that this board made this motion. It kind of came out in left field. We are paying a consultant to analyze our insurance and to make recommendations. And he did. He increased the out-of-pocket cost. He increased the deductible cost. He also increased the premiums to a certain extent. And nobody basically had they had a problem with it, but we know medicine and all the benefits that go with health care are going up, getting more expensive. So we did not have a problem with this. We do have a problem with taking money out of the insurance fund that is supposed to be strictly to pay the hospital bills, the pharmacy bills that people have. It is not money that you're at liberty to play with. And so we want to keep this sacred, and we have kept it sacred for a number of years, and it's just recently that people seem to want to, and I don't know if it's punish the employees or what you want to do, but we are feeling very hurt by a board that does not honor the present employees they have and the employees that are retired, because A lot of these people are giving a lot to the system. If you look at what people make, the people that you just gave raises to, like the teachers' aides, the cafeteria workers, the janitors, this kind of thing, you gave them a raise, and as the old American Indian saying is, you give with one hand and you take back with another. They have a term for that, an Indian giver. Because if you go open all of this and they have to pay higher premiums, then that money you gave them, they're not going to be able to use that to pay their bills to live. And on their salaries, it's very difficult. I don't know if you know what they make, but they do not make what teachers make. And teachers do not make what administrators make. So every little bit that's taken away hurts the employees and people that own fixed incomes. So please reconsider this, because we want to protect all the employees that are in the system. And a lot of them have given a lot to become a teacher. Those that have left have gone into private business and probably made a lot more than our teachers are making. So consider your employees, all your employees, the janitor, the lunchroom worker, the teacher's aide, the teacher, the administrators, everybody in the system falls in this category. And you really need to help protect us. And I will tell you, you picked up $6 million or more when you did not roll back that property tax millage. So you have extra money in your budget. You got it without a vote of the public, just by a vote of the board. And that's the first time we've seen that happen since I've been around, and it's been over 40 years. So be careful what you do. You know, we lost the tax. We knew it was serious, but obviously the public is not seeing it the same way. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Centani.
Mr. Guidry, how many times to your knowledge have the Lafayette Parish School Board rolled forward millages? Maybe a better question would be, how many times have they chosen not to roll forward millages?
I'm aware of one occurrence, I believe in the 80s. But since I've been here, we've always rolled forward.
And that happens every 4 years?
That's correct.
Ms. Sonia, I'd make the point that one of the things that we did with the $5 million from the roll forward of the millages is that we were out of balance using fund balance to balance our budget the prior year by roughly $5 million. So we don't have extra money. We rolled forward those millages, which allowed us to afford to not lay people off. Secondarily, the money, to my knowledge, if I remember correctly, the motion that was made was to reduce the general fund contribution to the insurance fund. In no way did we take insurance fund money out of that budget. We did not take any premium payments from any retirees or employees and subsidize the general fund. We did nothing of the sort. That insurance fund money remains in the insurance fund. The motion stated clearly that the insurance fund reserve was to fund any, if no plan was brought back to the school board by the beginning of the year, then the insurance fund reserve money was to fund that so that premiums would not increase any more over what the consultant recommended. I don't think this board made any changes to any insurance plans or any prescription plans that were not recommended by both the consultant and the Employee and Retiree Insurance Committee outside of the OPEB contribution, which I am sympathetic to your point on that. So I just wanted to give you my thoughts there. Thank you.
Madam President, I wanted to add to Mr. Centani's comment that over $1 million of last year's budget was over. I made a recommendation last year that would have made no changes to the employees, no substantial changes, especially to the retirees, but to the employees' insurance, health care policy. And it would have saved nearly right over $1 million to our budget. However, that was thrown under the bus. And so if you want to look, maybe part of that $5 million or $5.3 million from rolled forward millages was actually spent on keeping the premium the same for last fiscal year. So, you know, this is just a revolving door. It's not going to get any better. We have to autocorrect, and that's what we're doing.
All All right, any other comments on the budget? Ms. Landry?
Katie Landry, retired educator, and I do appreciate the opportunity of the public hearing so we can have input. My biggest concern, and I know you've heard it before, is OPEC. We were told 3 parishes contribute. We just did some research, and one is no longer contributing because they can no longer afford to. You know, and I understand the purpose of OPEC is to help future retirees, but why penalize current retirees? You know, these people, including myself, went through freezes when the oil field bottomed out. As a beginning administrator, my salary was frozen for 10 years without an increase. So they have done their sacrifices. Not that the current employees should. I think this is one thing that is really sacred. If you look at surrounding parishes, their insurance enticements are getting to be much better than Lafayette Parish. When you look at other parishes, they are contributing more than this parish to premiums of retirees and actives. I'm just going to throw one out there, St. Tammany, that we're always compared to. Their deductible is $500. For a single person not on Medicare, their premium is $87 a month, and their out-of-pocket maximum is $2,000. They don't contribute to OPEC. Their bond rating is higher than ours. I believe in OPEC when you have extra money. I don't think this board is in a position of extra money, and I understand your commitment to future retirees, and I applaud you for it. But there comes a time, and I think I support the superintendent's recommendation of $125,000. That's kind of hard for me because in a time of budget crisis, that's really hard for me to recommend. But I could support that. But $400,000 and more from general fund, because we all know this is going to get passed down to the employees. But you look at what St. Tammany is contributing to retirees, and I know they're retirees on Humana, but retirees and active, and they're putting more money than this board is into premiums. So it's not like this is out of the ordinary for districts. You look at other districts, and they are contributing more because it's important to them. And as Ms. Orgeron said, you're going to get into a recruiting crisis. If you don't start offering comparable benefits to employees, they're going to go elsewhere. And then what do? It's once you lose them, it's hard to get them back. I've seen it happen. You know, so I urge you to reconsider and at least look at other parishes and what they're contributing. Are some contributing yet less? Yeah, but they're not comparable to Lafayette Parish. And if we're going to be competitive, and I think in education today you have to be competitive for employees. You actually have to be competitive for students so that you don't lose them to private schools or parochial schools or charter schools, because you have a good system. But let's keep the employees. Let's keep the incentives there. I'm not trying to argue don't ever do OPEC. I'm just saying that I don't think this is the time. And you cut 400, or you're proposing, excuse me, to cut $470,000 out of the budget, and for employees to come up with a solution, the employee committee. But you're contributing $400,000 to OPEC. And do they go into reserves? Yeah, but you could use that reserves to balance the insurance. You know, we have $14 million, I think, in OPEC. Most of that came from insurance monies, from premiums that these people paid. If you could just stop and do some research and look at other parishes. I mean, do I care about this parish? Very much so. Do I want to see excellent employees stay? Absolutely, because you have some great employees. But we need to do everything you can to keep those people. And benefits make a difference, particularly when other parishes are offering more. So please, if you could reconsider that, we would certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Debbie Hargrave, retired teacher, and I'd like to begin kind of along the line that Katie was speaking about the OPEB. Now, I did not do this research, but it was given to me in writing. Since there's so much discussion about the fear of bond ratings dropping or in some way damaging future employees, I called most of the principalities in the parish that all of you represent. Some had never heard of OPEB and were kind enough to contact their auditor. If OPEB is so wonderful, why is it that the city of Lafayette, Lafayette Consolidated Government, the city of Scott, whose mayor is married to one of our board members, the city of Carencro, that was once led by another board member, the city of Youngsville, and the city of Broussard, none of them have an OPEB trust? Some are part of the municipal retirement system. Some have their own retirement plans that are not part of the state at all, but none of them have an OPEB trust. Now, kind of more onto what I want to talk about. What I would like is to see that I want to make sure that retirees that are on Medicare or Medicare eligible will still have a choice. And the choices are both very good. They have the choice of going on the group Humana Advantage plan, which is a lot less expensive for the employees, or to keep the Blue Cross Blue Shield as a supplement/secondary insurance. I think that choice is important. And I want to just kind of challenge you. Does anyone on this board know how that eventually $2 million cut will affect employees, especially old people like me? Wouldn't it be wise for the board to know how such a cut will impact the lives of employees before, not after, a decision is made? And I'm working on getting some numbers for you. And you probably heard about that. I've asked retirees to call their doctors and just through numbers, not through names, to let me know how many doctors they might lose if they had to go into the Humana Advantage plan. So I just want to give you 3 bits of anecdotal evidence, because I don't have my numbers yet. One of the first people that called me, and I'm not going to use names, I promised I wouldn't, was an elderly lady. She began with the Humana Advantage plan. It was working well for her and her husband. There was a problem with her husband, who was having some neurological difficulties, severe headaches and neuropathy, and his treatment was turned down. That does happen, but they stayed with Humana until after he died. Then after he died, one of her doctors would no longer take the Humana Advantage plan. And then a second doctor was in the midst of turning down the Humana plan. But what was great about the system, she had an option. It would cost her more money, but she made the decision to go into the Blue Cross Blue Shield supplement. And so she's doing well. A second person that called me, it's painful to even tell you her story. She's younger than I am. She just got onto Medicare. She is about to plan her 28th and 29th surgery. She has had a life so filled with pain, I can't begin to tell you. And she has 13 doctors. And of those 13 doctors, if she was forced to go onto the Humana Advantage plan, she would have none left. None. They'd all drop her. Another lady that got in touch with me made me wish I had asked for more when I asked for them to give me input. She got in touch with me and said she had 8 doctors. She would only lose 3. And I say only because most of the people that are telling me 3 is it's a small number. But she told me that 2 of the doctors that she would lose, they're specialists, she'd been with for over 20 years. The 3rd doctor that she would lose, she had been with for over 30 years. This is human suffering that can be brought about if you cut our choices or make one of the choices substantially less affordable. So I encourage you to think about more than dollars. Think about people suffering. And as soon as I get all my numbers, I'll make sure that you have them. Thank you.
Any other comments from the public? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. I'm East Sutter, and this is just personal, what I found out this morning as Ms. Hargrave asked us to get some information. My husband and I have been with a medical group general practice for about 45 years since our first child was born. They do not accept Humana. The two doctors that we regularly see now there, we've only had, say, 25 years. But anyway, they will not accept it. The cardiologist that I see, and I'm telling you all my personal stuff, but anyway, that I see only once a year, thankfully. I spoke with his receptionist, and she says, we would have to run your insurance. And I'm like, what does that mean? She said, well, we'd have to run the card and see what you would qualify for. I wasn't sure. And she says, but I can tell you, she said, working with Humana is very sticky. So right there, I was like, okay. The other three specialists said they accept the PPO, but not the HMO. I hope you understand that, because I don't. And then the other one was also kind of iffy. It would kind of depend. So the main thing is I would not be happy about having to lose our GP. One of them works very closely with my husband, who has diabetes. He monitors, he keeps him up, you know, to where he's supposed to be. And I just really would hate to lose them after so many years. It's not easy at our age to have to start getting used to some new person who doesn't know all your background, your history, maybe even your family members and so on. Thank you.
All right, any other comments from the public? All right, we have about 5 minutes left for this scheduled meeting, so since it's a public hearing, I'll keep the mic open for any latecomers, or if anyone decides that it's okay to get up and speak to the six of us. I know many of you taught thousands of students over the years, so the six of us should not be that scary. So.
Good afternoon. My name is Carol Broussard, and I serve on the board, the retired teachers. I represent retired teachers. I can't tell you how many phone calls I've received. I'd be lying to you. How many emails. I can't go to Walmart anymore. You know, Walmart is where you expect to just go in and come out. I can't do that anymore. People are very concerned. They're concerned because what you're doing affects their livelihood. As you get older, and one day you will get old, you will notice that you will have to see a doctor more often. You may have to go to physical therapy more often. I have been an employee of Lafayette Parish School Board with your insurance for over 33 years. I can say I depend on Blue Cross Blue Shield. I have friends who were on Humana, but they came back to Blue Cross Blue Shield because of all the aggravations that came with that plan. So I ask you for two things. OPEB, they can tell you, I sit in these meetings, when you say you're taking money from the insurance funds to fund OPEB, I'm the strongest person, the loudest person that says, why are we doing it? Do we have to do it now? Do we have to take out so much money? Because when you take out money, it affects everybody right here. It's going to come out of their pocketbooks. I can tell you retired people and employees, they expect to have an increase in their premiums. Every year I tell them that. I stand before that group and I tell them 10%. Ask them. I say expect 10%. And when it's less than that, I go home happy because then they're saving money. You have a group of people who are willing to work with you. They know their medication is going to go up. All we ask is, OPEB, I know you're looking at the future, but this is your future right now. Okay? These are the people right now who vote, who supported your taxes. I know these people call people, because I got phone calls, because they wanted the tax to pass, not for you, but for the children of Lafayette Parish. So now I ask, whatever decision you make, please make it with these people in mind. Thank you.
All right, anybody else? Okay, last call. All right, then I'm going to close the public hearing, and I will call the, who said wait? 75 seconds. If anyone comes in, I will let them speak. I'm going to go ahead and call the next meeting to order. It's the special meeting. We have a quorum present. The only matter